many times you probably brought kids to vacations. I'm sure many of you have a lot of good experiences on vacations to share with. I just came back from vacation last night. I can share a little. I brought kids, 3 kids and my parents, to Bay Area. We went to the Tech of Innovation. The kids had a great time over there to have some robot hands-on experiences. Furthermore, we saw 2 remarkable IMAX movies, Dream Big and Extreme Weather. Especially the Dream Big, talk about engineering, how the engineering changed the world. I would encourage everyone if you have a chance to see them. Without further ado, I would like to introduce today's first speaker, Rheid Schloss. Rheid Schloss is an international recognized award-winning speaker. His motivational speeches have inspired thousands of audiences and a couple in his dreams. His stories of silliness and tragedy have encouraged audiences to see their lives as their dream job. Today, Rheid will be sharing with us his life-saving principles of must, should, want in his speech. Is it just me? Please help me welcome Rheid Schloss. Is it just me?
Also, before I begin, Rodrigo, the time is 8 to 10.
8 to 10, okay. Just a second.
There I sat, 42,000 feet above the Pacific Ocean, on a return business trip from Japan. It was the moment that I had dreamed of. That young corporate executive returning successfully from doing battle in business, first class leather seat, white linen tablecloth, plastic fork. I had dreamed of being that young corporate executive since high school. That person who flew all around the world to exotic places like Tokyo, Kuala Lumpur, and Cleveland. And I had got it. That's when I heard, "Hey buddy, can you stop leaning on me? You're starting to drool." And I realized that seat was not in first class. It was coach. Way, way back in the back, a middle seat, and not a plastic fork, but a bag of peanuts. Is it just me, or have you ever wanted something so bad that you work so hard, and then once you got it, you discover, why did I really want that? Well, that was me. And on that return trip from Tokyo, I resolved I was going to do something about it. And I did. I got lazy, complacent, and just started going through the motions of my job. And I turned that nightmare into a double feature by getting myself fired. Is it just me, or getting fired, is that scary? How many of you like scary movies? What's wrong with you? Well, I was scared. I had mouths to feed, bills to pay, and a car to be repossessed. And so I went out and got another job. It was exciting. New team, new challenges. I was on the fast track to becoming that young corporate executive, and 15 months later, I found myself in that same middle seat. Is it just me, or do you have reoccurring nightmares? Sometimes when we desire something so badly, it turns into a nightmare because we forget our balance. One night, a cold February night, I found myself on a park bench, staring at the stars. I was talking to God, mostly complaining. I wasn't happy at work. The furnace needed to be replaced. The car needed repairs. The house needed to be painted. Did I mention that I wasn't happy at work? Well, that night, something changed. It changed me forever. As I was staring up, complaining, all of a sudden, I heard a voice. Not with my ears, but it was in my head, and I felt it through my whole body. And it said, "Well, Rheid, what do you really want?" What? I've wanted to be a young corporate executive and handsome since high school. Well, Rheid, what do you really want? That night changed me, because I realized that what I really wanted was not that dream job. I already had a dream job. It's just that my job was helping me ignore my dream job. Now, your dream job might be different than mine, but my dream job was to be a dad, a husband, a son, and a friend. And my job was getting in the way of me doing my dream job. Well, that night, I decided I needed to do something about it. I learned that on that bench, I needed to re-dream. That I needed to refocus and refine what that dream looked like. I needed to be specific. And then I needed to rework my dream. And the results? A new way of looking at life. And a simple way of planning that I call must, shoulds, and wants. It has to be simple. I'm a recovering engineer. And that principle of must, shoulds, wants changed my life. And I know it can change every one of yours too. Now, how many of you would like to know that principle? Mr. Toastmaster, Madam Toastmaster.
Rheid, one thing I can tell you, it's not just you. Thank you, Rheid, for this remarkable speech. Our next speaker is Min. Oh, sorry. Let me just give a timer. We need 1 minute for evaluation. Once it's ready, and then I can. Just for our guests during this, after one speech, usually will be 1 minute for evaluation. People will write down the comments, feedback, encouragement, improvement, things like that on a piece of paper. if you want to see how they want to write down, there's some samples, you can take a look.
Okay.
Here's one of those evaluation forms.
You're
Takes-
also encouraged to write down any comments. Me is working on the #1 speech for competent communication menu. Her title is Hello, this is me from Maven. Rheid will be her narrator. Please help me to work on this.
First, I'll respond to the theme about vacation, since as some of you guys know, I was out of the country for a month, great vacation. My daughter was taking a gap year after high school, and I was taking a gap year after 12 years at HP. So we made an annual visit to my family in China for the Chinese New Year into a Asia wanderlust trip. So we went to Thailand, Taiwan, Hong Kong, China, but I have to say it's great to be home, and the air here is just so different. Everywhere we go. And we were in Taipei, and when you take a shower, the window fogs up. We're like, what? We don't have this problem in Colorado. And then, so yeah, it was a great vacation. And then I also feel that, when we have kids take gap year, you feel that you need that gap year to think about what you want to do. I feel like grown-ups need gap year too, right? It used to be sabbatical, or in HP we had those. I highly recommend it.
Min, did you want 4 to 6 minutes, or do you want to do 5 to 7?
I think 5 to 7 would be good. I tend to run long. Okay. About 6 months ago, a friend of ours in Fort Collins came to my husband and said, hey, could you help me? I said, okay, Patty, what's going on? Patty had run a nutritional supplement business for a while. And she decided that she's going to tap into the online market. So she signed up a local advertising agency to run her online platform and search engine optimization. So when people search, she will pop up. So she has signed this $1,800 a month contract for a year. And 6 months later, she only sold 4 products. And this is not big business we're talking about. So she said, hey, Ben, can you help me? Ben has been learning about SEO, AdWords, all that online stuff because we have our family business. He does that for our own business. So he said, okay, I'll take a look. He went to the back end, as you engineers know, and he was amazed that some of the most basic SEO stuff was not done. And so he said, well, looks like they haven't done anything. She said, okay, I'm going to go talk to them about it. But then a week later, we were told the agent said, we did everything you told. So it turned into this very ugly fight, and then eventually we helped her get out of that. So that's one instance that we thought, okay, we help Patty, then that's good. We move on. Then another lady we know, she used to be a marketer at HP actually. When her son was born with autism, she decided to stay home because his care took 24/7. And while she was taking care of her son, she started to research about special diet needed for this kind of kid. And she, from that, grew a very good blog-based business around the diet needed for these kids. And she was actually getting a good income on the side. And then one day, her traffic just disappeared. So she said, okay, Ben, can you help me on this? And then we took a look at it. Google had changed the algorithm, as you guys know, right? And something didn't work with her blog and her website. So we helped her fix that. And from that, then we realized, there seemed to be a gap in a lot of small businesses that they just need a little more information and they can get a digital marketing to really work for them. Or they need a little more information so they can tell if the agency they're paying $10,000 a year for is really doing the job. So that's why me and my husband and another friend of ours who left IBM decided to start a Maven digital marketing business. We are half service, half training, because we realize some businesses we work with, the people are very technically capable. They don't have the time to stay on top of all the Google algorithm updates and changes and whatnot, but giving the right training, they can do a lot themselves. We also realize there are businesses that could use an unbiased party to tell them what to do. One example, there's a local retailer who we talked to, and we didn't realize this little shop near Trader Joe's, they spent $200,000 a year on advertising. And one of the things the owner really wants, he said, I want my keywords to show up when people type in my product. Guess what we found out? The #1 ranking is Costco. Do you think he had budget to beat Costco? No way. So we had to explain to them that no, being a local business, you need to understand how you can play against them. So he said, well, I actually talked to 5 local shops who tell me you can do this and that. I don't know what to believe. So we end up working for him is trying to help him understand what he really needs, give him a plan so he can go bid the business. It's kind of if you need a remodel on your house, right? You don't just draw a plan yourself and start calling the plumber, the electrician, and the people need. So what we help him is did a plan, what he needs, and he was able to bid out. As my husband would drive this business, I was kind of tagging along. And then one day it dawned on me that, okay, I need to be really jumping to this. I need to go out there, talk to people and the community members. And that's one of the reasons I want to practice in front of you, because I've been in the corporate world for so long, I've never actually knocked on the door of a real customer. But I'm really excited about it because after I left HP, I've been working with 2 incubators, working with startups, small business that are trying to take off. And it's really helpful to really give them advice, but it's even more fulfilling if you can really get in there hands-on to help them. So this business we have really met my own personal interest, which is really help small business in tangible ways, either by training or hands-on helping, and also see them grow and become very successful businesses. So that's kind of my quick icebreaker for the business we do, and thank you for your time, and welcome your feedback. Thank you.
Would you go with the 1 minute for the evaluation? While you guys writing the evaluation, can I just share a little bit more on the vacation? You can multitask. I have 3 kids. Since my youngest one turned 2.5, I started to bring all the kids to see different places. I really feel, now my youngest one is turned 6 already. I felt each vacation is an eye-opening event for the kids. I like Colorado. However, when we go to San Francisco, see Exploratorium, Bay Area, different museums, art museums, they learn different things. Even the simplest playground, each place are different. They have all different setup. They learn a lot on the new setup, even in the playground. That's what I really cherish about the vacations. It's not only you relax, many times it's learning experiences. I'm sure in the people topics, we'll have some opportunities to hear more stories about your experiences. 1 minute up. Mentioning the table topics, that's our next portion. Please help me to welcome our table topics master today, Joe McCarthy. Thank you.
For my theme response, a little bit of a shift, and it works actually quite well with our 2 speeches here. Confucius said, I don't know if you really said this or not, but if you love your job, if you choose a job that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. That sounds great, but we don't always have that choice. So I'd like to propose a corollary, which is love your job. Find something about it that you can love. Another corollary might be being a freelance consultant. Be careful if you work for yourself, because you'll never get to complain about either the employee or your boss. In keeping with the theme on vacation, I've got a bag of goodies, vacation goodies. And if you reach in, grab one, just as your topic, and you give it a couple of minutes each spot. So the idea is just start with something and try to build up a little thing about it. You've got a few seconds if you want to try it out. A few seconds to think of something that you want to do with it, and then start talking and just see what I think. If you feel adventurous, you can reach in and grab something without looking. If you're a little bit nervous about it, feel free to take a look at what's in there. There's quite a variety of things in there. Okay, do I have any volunteers?
Wow, one more guest.
A shoe. A shoe that is designed for weathers. But with our weather changing as it is good for today. We try to identify the best weather for this shoe, and we find that Colorado offers it 365 days a year, pending snow. Though I have seen a lot of children that wear these regardless of the weather. I don't know the best way to approach this from the next perspective, other than to say that it is a dirty shoe, and I wish that it had been cleaned prior to picking it up.
The rest of the items are very clean. Who's next?
So you, Joe, you just pick something out and.
Crossword.
So I just talk about, I guess I don't really know what to say about this, other than, my dad enjoys these quite a lot. And for years, he's been trying to get me to do them, and it's so boring to me, I just don't have the time to do it. But the other day, I was trying to help my wife clean the house, and I found a big stack of these that he had left behind. I guess he's still trying to get me to do them, but I don't know what else to say about it.
Anybody else? Jerry?
I'm a little slow. I got sort of a stiff knee. Thanks, Joe. I think I'm gonna go for the random one, so long as it doesn't feel like a shoe. We did take that out of the box, I hope. All right, we have, wow, passport. I think I know who I need to travel with in the future, because there are a tremendous number of stamps in here. So when I got my first passport, I was real eager and excited to try to fill up as many pages as I could. And I did do some travels, but not quite as often as I thought I was going to. I may have filled up maybe 2 or 3 pages, but I really enjoyed the international traveling. And Reid, when you were describing this chair back here, I was sitting in the airplane in that middle seat, and I must have looked so pathetic that one of the attendants looked at me, pointed at me, and went like this, and I actually got to go to a much nicer seat. I thought that was pretty impressive. They must have mistaken me for someone else. But this is quite the impressive passport. Let me see what I should be traveling with. Joe McCarthy. Well, no surprise there, because I know you travel a lot. If you ever need anybody to help you with bags on your travels, sign me up. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
There's a variety of objects in here. Anybody tempted? Like.
was thinking of going in without looking good. And I thought that might not be a good idea. Okay, brought a tour guide of Istanbul apparently. That's kind of appropriate for me, or it might have been kind of appropriate for me, but it's not, unfortunately. But I'll tell you why it might have been. Because I'm going to southern Italy pretty soon. I'm trying to work on my own passport stamping. Went to Morocco last year, which was pretty fun. I wasn't going to go through Istanbul, the airport in Istanbul, because it's a major hub. However, I had some reservations about that after thinking about it a little bit, because there was a big terrorist attack in Istanbul last year that killed, I don't know, like 100 people, and it was in the Istanbul airport, which I would be going through, so I thought, maybe the Portuguese, the Lisbon airport, or the Heathrow might be better options to fly to southern Italy. But yeah, I'm looking forward to visiting that. I'm sure it'll be kind of similar to Morocco, similar climate, kind of similar culture, with that Mediterranean love of olive oil, love of healthy food, which I think all Americans would do well to emulate if they can. Takes work for us though, because fast food and healthy food, it tastes so good and it's so accessible wherever you go. So I'm looking forward to visiting there. One of these days, when it calms down a little bit, I'll have to visit Turkey and Istanbul as well. Thank you.
Okay. We got two more volunteers that we're looking for here. Yeah. Brave.
Oh.
Is there hair on it? That means we're home. I went to Hawaii when I was very little, and unfortunately, I spent the whole week in the hotel room. I was incredibly sick, so my memories of Hawaii were myself and my Ninja Turtles hanging out, drinking. When I was little, for some reason, I hated swallowing pills. So my mom would smash up Tylenol or whatever and put it in a drink, water or whatever. So I would drink those, which tasted awful because you swallow Tylenol for a reason. So this makes me think of what could have been. I need to go back to Hawaii and actually walk around the beaches and take in all the beauty there, the hikes. But my one trip there, hanging out with my Ninja Turtles, was okay. I would probably bring my Ninja Turtles back if I went, just in case. You never know.
And one last one. Looking around. I think Min's trying to avoid my gaze. I'll invite Min.
I figure I'm talking Ah, sounds good. Ready to vacation? Okay. So we were in Thailand. I was mentioning to Joe, it felt like it was in Northern Europe because the beach was covered with people from Sweden, Switzerland, Norway, Russia, and there's plenty of sunscreen being used, but there were a brief few who apparently are in a lobster color, and they were just baking over there. And then to get around the island, you have to take a little tiny boat, and then the sailor will come around, and you see them in a really, really dark brown color because they don't wear any sunscreen. So it was really, whenever I see this, I think about those, the sailors, the oarsmen who paddle the tourists around, who don't wear any kind of sun protection. And then around them are people all covered with sunscreen, and the people who are in the color of lobster. It's just fun memories. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And pass it back to our Toastmaster.
Thank you. For our Toastmasters, one of the important portions is evaluation. It's more educational and or run by our general evaluator, Mike Besson.
I think for our two guests, like Suzanne alluded to, this is the educational portion of the meeting where in theory we'll learn from our mistakes in this meeting and go throughout our daily lives and come to the next meeting much better speakers. We'll eliminate all our ahs and ums. Everybody struggles with those, by the way. I've had the exact same problem you have. I've come up to the podium intending to do a 5 to 7 minute speech and got caught in an infinite loop. And like, and it's not a pretty sight. So, I just did it again and see I'm going to do it again. So I took some notes for the meeting. Let's see. Well, actually, before I go too deep into the notes about the meeting, I'll call our first evaluator, which is Brad, who is evaluating Rheid's speech. So, welcome Brad up here. Yeah.
Rheid's speech was the Get Comfortable with Visual Aids, speech number 8. And I liked your visual aids. One thing that I wish you had done was work them back in again at the end. The fact that you actually had a plastic fork surprised me, and I thought that everyone, it seemed like, was surprised and delighted by that, and then the bag of peanuts as well. But at the end, you know, you talked about shifting perspective, and at the beginning of the story, or the speech, the peanuts were what you were settling for, but really you wanted that plastic fork. And so since your perspective switched, maybe at the end, you could talk about a trip you took with your family where you were packed in like sardines just like before, but this time, you couldn't be happier to be packed in like sardines, because it was with the people you love. And look, we've just got this bag of peanuts that we're gonna have to split, but somehow, you know, it was even more enjoyable because you were going through this uncomfortable / funny experience with your family. So just working that shifting perspective in with the props or the visual aids, I think would really drive the point home. As usual, your presence up here was very good, the movements, your body language, your varied tones and volumes, I thought were all very good. I liked the must, shoulds, and wants. I'm assuming this is sort of a introduction to a bigger...
It's actually the introduction to a keynote.
Okay,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
So you...
Left you hanging.
Yeah, you were successful in wanting, in having me want to hear more, which I think is probably the purpose of that. So I think that was very good. For the guests, Rheid is a fun challenge for evaluating, because I think I'm much more nitpicky with him because he is so polished. So just like Mike referenced code, when you're doing a peer review of someone who is a very good coder, you almost feel happy when you have some good feedback. Like, ah, sweet, I found something. I found it. So I was happy to have the visual aids to bring that in. But I liked it, and I also think this is my next speech for visual aids one, and I'm thinking big, projecting, and all of that. But I like that you kind of turned that on its head. They were small props, which almost makes them more powerful, because it's like when you whisper suddenly, the audience wants to pay more attention. And so I like the props, but maybe work them in more.
Thank you, Brad, for that. Thank you, Rheid. And we'll go straight to the second evaluation, which is by Rheid of Lynn's speech. Welcome, Rheid.
Thank you. Min, thank you for speaking today. This is not your first CC manual, clearly. And the way of introducing yourself, some of the key points of this speech, this project, is really to get you speaking, to share information about yourself, to start working in that process of creating an opening, a body, and a conclusion. I'm going to work on some other areas, since you are an accomplished speaker and that you have competed in contests. And this is something I think that's very important to you as well. You're wanting to use some of this as a way to communicate with potential customers. So I'm going to focus my comments around that. I thought the stories that you used were very applicable. However, I think maybe a setup at the very beginning would make it stronger. You had me engaged by the story first of Patty. But there's this element of getting you involved, using you statements to grab your attention, because when you speak to one, you actually speak to everyone in the audience. So from that perspective, I would like to suggest maybe you use something that maybe everyone's done. What happens when you Google your name? Are you on the top of Google's list? See the difference? Then you can go into, I have a client that I worked with whose name was Patty, and lead into that story. By the way, the specifics of that were very powerful to me because it caught my interest, especially the $1,800 a month contract. And then you could lead into, if you were in that situation and you were paying $1,800 a month, and 6 months later you had only sold 4 products, would you be very happy with that contract? All of a sudden, you've engaged your audience in that discussion. And I think that would help with your lead into your services and what you do. I am still trying to remember your business name. Did anybody else catch your business name?